The Selfish Path to Romance. Download Chapter 1 for free at drkenner.com.
Rhonda, you're having panic attacks?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, to make a long story short, from the age of 2 to 13, I was molested
Okay.
by someone that was raised to be my grandfather, but actually it was my grandma's husband.
Okay.
And he stopped either when I started my period or when I first got arrested for being under the influence of drugs, because I started taking drugs at that time. Previous to that, when I was in the 7th grade,
Yeah.
the police, my girlfriend was being molested by my grandma's husband and her father. We were both being molested.
Okay.
She ran away, and they called, and when they found her, she told on her dad. So the police came to my school and took me out of the 7th grade.
Okay.
And they asked me all these questions about my private parts, just like the molester said they would.
Right.
And so, and they didn't tell my parents. Nobody did anything on my behalf. I just went home. So obviously, not obviously, I ended up using a lot of drugs.
So
And
you
I kept
self-medicated. So let me
Yes.
see if I understand this. What's causing you the panic attacks are your memories of long-term trauma by someone who was, in quotes, a family member, who claimed to be your grandfather, and that you did have what could have been an opportunity for people to come to your rescue, but it didn't happen. It still got buried. And so where are you? How old are you now?
52.
You're 52 years old, and you've known this your whole life?
No, I was using drugs and alcohol,
For how
and then
long?
I got my life together, and I got a job, and I had worked since I was 15 anyway. When I was 25, a memory, something triggered a memory, and I remembered everything came flooding back
Okay,
like
that's
a waterfall.
Yeah, that's
At the age of 25.
Okay, Rhonda, what I would absolutely recommend, if you have not tried this yet, is therapy for that sort of trauma. I've done a lot of that work, and actually what happens is when those memories get triggered, the buried memories, if they're not fabricated, some people lie, that's happened too, but yours sound like they were very long range, and that the memories are real, they're vivid, and this is what actually happened to you. When that happens, it's actually called what you named it, flooding. It overwhelms you because you don't know what to do with it. It totally messes up your world. You don't know who you are. You don't know how to relate to people. You don't know what to do in the future. You don't know what to do with this information because it's partially unprocessed. And it was processed when you were very young, 2 to 13 years old, you said.
Yes.
And you also tried to self-medicate with drugs and alcohol. You did clean up your life. Tell me, you're saying now that you're having panic attacks right now, and you'd like some help with that?
Well, what happened is I cleaned up my life, and because I didn't have any memory, then I cleaned up my life. I went off. I got this wonderful job, and then the memories came, and the panic attacks came.
Okay,
and
panic.
Because I had no memory to speak of, to tell somebody, the panic attacks just got worse and worse and worse.
For how long?
And the doctor put me on medication.
How long ago was this, Rhonda?
I was 25 and I'm 52.
Okay, so you started getting panic attacks at the age of 25?
Yes.
Okay, and you're currently, how can I help you now? We only have a few minutes.
One thing that that has been consistent my whole life and still is today that's very disruptive are the nightmares.
Okay, so you're wanting some help with what do you do with the nightmares?
Yes, the nightmares are what plague me. They're all about abandonment. They're about death.
Okay.
Body parts, really gross, morbid nightmares.
And that's coming from the abuse, or is that coming from horror movies or some other source?
No, it's coming from the abuse, because when I'm, like, I'll give you an instant of a nightmare. I'm on a battleship. I've never been in a battleship my life, but I can describe it to you perfectly. And I go down below, and below there's water, and in the water there's floating body parts.
And
all over in the water, and I'm walking on a thin strip of metal that goes across there, and there's all these body parts.
Okay, what is the outcome of the dream?
I wake up scared to death, and it totally ruins my whole day because I keep having They wake me up with night sweats, and I keep having flashbacks.
Okay, so you definitely...
I dreamt I went to hell when I was a child.
Were you Catholic?
No.
Or religious?
No, I wasn't raised with any religion because my mom had 5 stepdads. I had 5 stepdads.
Okay, listen, because we only have about a little over a minute left, I would like to give you some tips on what to do with the nightmares.
Okay.
And if you go to bed at night saying to yourself, oh my God, what if I have another nightmare? Have you ever done that? Oh, I hope I don't have one.
I fall asleep saying my prayers.
Within your prayers, do you say anything about the nightmares at all, or worry that you may? Do you anticipate a nightmare?
No, I ask God to intervene.
Okay, but then you're talking...
If I should have nightmares.
Then let me give you another suggestion. You want to gain more strength in your own mind. You want to be able to say, what if the nightmare changed into a better story? It had a better outcome. You want to prime your subconscious. Give yourself some ideas of having better dreams, stocking your subconscious with happier endings or better ideas. You can, I know people have done this successfully, and this would require more than just my saying it now. You know, you need a therapy session. But you also want to read enjoyable books or books with happy outcomes before you go to bed, or stories with good outcomes, because you're fighting a premise that bad things happen and then you go to hell. You're fighting a premise, an idea that isn't, that's undermining you. It's the idea that's undermining you. It's not the reality. There aren't battleships with people's bodies floating around in your life, right?
Right.
So you do want to deal with the abuse. That takes more work. That involves talking to the abusive person, not in person, but maybe writing a letter to that person of what you genuinely feel and ripping up the letter so you never send it to them necessarily. You know, you have to make a decision. There are a lot of skills that you need, but I recommend therapy. Listen, thank you very much for your call.
And here's a little more from Dr. Kenner.
Players threw me out of their club like a dog. I never complained. On the contrary, I vowed that I will never play again. Who suffered? Me. But I don't want Jessie to suffer. I don't want her to make the same mistakes that her father made of accepting life, accepting situations. I want her to fight, and I want her to win.
And that is a loving father. That is a father who said, you know, when they kicked me out of the cricket club, I gave up. I gave up on myself. I didn't fight for that value. And I don't want my daughter to repeat the same error. And that is from Bend It Like Beckham. So you want happiness. And if you are quick to give up on yourself, quick to give up on your genuine, personal, hopefully rational goals, then what are you doing? You're throwing your life away. You're having a life that's less than it could be, less vibrant than it could be.
For more Dr. Kenner podcast, go to drkenner.com and please listen to this ad.
Here's an excerpt from The Selfish Path to Romance, the Serious Romance Guidebook by clinical psychologist Dr. Ellen Kenner.
Communicating well about day-to-day living preferences and how you'll divide up household responsibilities helps avoid typical tensions and resentments. Communicating well is indispensable for making yourself lovable and making your love relationship work. There are numerous books on the market that give couples practice in communication skills, and most therapists are well trained to teach these. It's a mistake to think that either you're born with these skills or that you're hopeless. They are learnable skills. Partners can have fun learning them together. Making yourself lovable is an essential and exciting investment in your romantic happiness.
You can download Chapter 1 for free by going to drkenner.com, and you can buy The Selfish Path to Romance at amazon.com.